When I was 14, I planned my wedding.
This one's wife. She touches Harry. Harry says, no. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. This one's wife is well known for her touching of other people. She's a hugger, don't you know? But the person who is the recipient of her touches the most is unsurprisingly the intimate partner primary source that is Harry. Those who don't understand narcissism will say, well, obviously she'll touch him a lot. He's her husband. They're in love. Well, actually, that's not the case. She touches him not because she loves him, although she believes that she does. She touches him because her narcissism compels her to do so for the purpose of asserting control over him through physical touch. Narcissists use physical touch regularly for the purpose of asserting control. Hugging you, touching you on the elbow, brushing fingers through the hair, touching you in a sexual way, punching you in the face, shoving you, putting a hand over your mouth when you're trying to scream. The narcissist will use a physical touch in lots of different ways, some benign, many malign, for the purpose of assertion of control over you and drawing of fuel. This one's wife has been regularly seen utilizing the grip of doom on Harry in public, steering him, taking him by the shoulder, in essence pulling him back so she can get in first, touching him on the elbow, nudging him, reminding him of her presence, touching him on the small of the back, and so on and so forth. And repeatedly, I've dissected that for you. Here we see an interesting interaction between her and Harry that took place on CBS's Sunday morning interview. I'm going to play you a section of the footage that relates to this one's wife's bringing up the past in relation to her suicidal ideation. For an analysis of what's going on vis-a-vis her response to the suggestion of suicidal ideation and the 404 moment, I direct you to yesterday's video of CBS interview, Lost Your Kids, No Problem, I Make It All About Me, as I go into detail in relation to the way that she is searching to find the appropriate response as prompted by the interviewer's questions. But here, we're going to be examining the interaction between her and Harry. So what you need to be looking for is, where is this one's wife's hand? And also, what's Harry's reaction to the placing of that hand in the bit of footage you're about to see? Here it comes.
Meghan Markle has been there, as she told Oprah Winfrey in 2021.
Look, I was really ashamed to say it at the time, and ashamed to have to admit it to Harry especially, because I know how much loss he's suffered. Mm-hmm. But I knew that if I didn't say it, that I would do it, and I just didn't want to be alive anymore.
You had an experience that connects you to these families, and I see you touch your husband's hand in just the way I knew that you would be looking after each other if I went places. But the connection that you have with people is they know you had suffered too, personally. Contemplating killing yourself is what suicidal ideation was. And I'm dancing around this because I can see you're uncomfortable with my even going there. Do you?
I understand why you are, though. I wasn't expecting it, but I understand why you are, because there is a through line, I think. And when you've been through any level of pain or trauma, I believe part of our healing journey, certainly part of mine, is being able to be really open about it. And I haven't really scraped the surface on my experience, but I do think that I would never want someone else to feel that way. And I would never want someone else to be making those sort of plans, and I would never want someone else to not be believed. So if me voicing what I have overcome will save someone, or asks or encourage someone in their life to really genuinely check in on them and not assume that the appearance is good so everything's okay, then that's worth it. I'll take a hit for that.
You've been able to put the word salad to one side and the self-pitying conduct of this one's wife. You obviously saw the bringing up the past with the flashback to the Oprah interview, and the interviewer immediately points out, when she's touching on the issue of suicidal ideation, that this one's wife has touched Harry's hand. Yet when the camera pans to this one's wife and Harry, her hand is on his knee and his hands are held together over the pink pods. Now, presumably, the interviewer isn't lying and their hands did touch. Otherwise, why state it? Interestingly, one wonders if there's a little bit of shithousery going on from this interviewer, because she does talk about the fact that you touched hands as I expected you to do so, i.e., you're well known for being all handsy and touchy-feely, and it's quite sickening, and I knew you'd do it, and lo and behold, you have, so I'm going to point it out. It's a potential interpretation, or maybe she was just reporting on what she saw. Let me know what you think. Do you think there was a bit of shithousery going on? Let me know in the comments. But the fact is, the interviewer isn't going to necessarily lie about that, is she? Why would she bother? So she comments that this one's wife has touched Harry's hand, but by the time the camera gets there, his hands are clasped, or rather, they are touching, protecting the old pink pods, and her hand is on his knee. And throughout the remainder of the segment, her hand remains there. Her placing her hand on his knee, once again, is demonstrative of her physical assertion of control over Harry. He's mine. To demonstrate that to the world, through facade management, I care about him. And to say to the world, look, this is an idyllic marriage. The two of us are so solid. Remember, she is a narcissist. It's nothing to do with actual affection. It's to do with the prime aims. Because whatever the narcissist does in relation to another human being, it is always, always, always driven by the prime aims. Do not lose sight of that. Accordingly, she touches him to assert control over him and to assert control over the audience, to say, we're a solid couple, we're very much in love, we have this idyllic marriage. But Harry's response is most telling. Given that she's talking about something sensitive, such as suicidal ideation, something which would ordinarily be viewed as most upsetting, is Harry showing support towards her? No. He's looking off into the distance as if to say, fuck me, not this again. When can I get back to playing on the Xbox? Is he holding her hand, showing her support? No. Is he allowing his hand to be held by her as part of this facade management? No. You would have thought that, given the sensitive nature of this material, that he would at least either keep his hand there or even be supportive towards her with a gesture in relation to her. But he can't be bothered. Is this Harry demonstrating that he's past caring? That he's sick of being manhandled? That he isn't going to go along with the so-called lovey-dovey act any longer? Is it because he simply doesn't care? The fact is, we understand why she's touching him. But what do we learn from the fact that he's not reciprocating the gesture? Is this a stand finally by Harry to say, I'm not going to be mauled by you anymore in public? Or, I know you're talking claptrap because this never happened and I'm uncomfortable with going along with it. His response demonstrates that he's not supporting her, that he doesn't want to be touched by her. He's not going to brush her hand off his knee in front of the interviewer, but evidently he moved his hand away after she touched it. And he did so to send a clear signal, which was to say, I'm not participating in this lovey-dovey expression. But she continues to do so by placing his hand on his knee. To my mind, this demonstrates that Harry is sending a clear signal to her to reject this attempt to control him by taking his hand, to demonstrate that he's not comfortable going along with this image that she's trying to project. What do you think? Do you think Harry is finally rejecting her? That he's had enough of this nonsense? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for watching.